Space, the final frontier. For decades, we've seen visions of what's in store for humanity's future, and space exploration is always high on the list. The U.S. has always been at the forefront of going where no man has gone before, and it looks like Donald Trump is willing to take that a big step further with his announcement of a Space Force, a military force capable of engaging in conflicts from outer space. But is that a step the U.S. and the world at large ready for? Welcome to DC Direct. I'm Lionel Donovan. In this show, we tackle some of the big issues in the U.S., but we want you to weigh in. So feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World, and use the hashtag DC Direct to be a part of the conversation. In today's show, we'll be talking about the proposed Space Force.
Trump has made some bold statements in his presidency, and one of his more bolder ones was his call for a Space Force to protect America.
The Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal.
Well, after months of speculation, the Pentagon recently released a proposal that would outline how the Space Force would work and how it would be funded. So what does Trump want exactly?
Well, after months of trying to figure out how this could actually happen, the Pentagon recently released a proposal outlining how the Space Force would be funded and who would be overseeing it. So how does it look? The U.S. spends about $610 billion on its military. That's more money than the next 9 countries combined. All that money is used to fund 4 of the U.S.'s 5 military branches: the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. So where would the Space Force go? Well, according to some early proposals, the Space Force could either operate as part of the Air Force, similar to how the Marines is somewhat connected to the Navy, or act as a completely separate branch of the military. So how is Trump's Space Force being received by everyday people? We hit the streets to find out.
I mean, definitely there's a huge incentive for it. I'm not sure that they were fighting anyone. There's just, a lot of money to be made there. So it's a good business case. I can see maybe why they're, and I'm sure there's a lot of scientists and folks who are very excited about the prospects.
It seems to me to lack political support as a separate force, as a separate armed force. Undoubtedly, space and enforcement of rules will be part of our future, but I'm skeptical.
This is another attempt by Donald Trump to distract Americans from the real problems we have in this country.
Funny thing is, I just came out of the Army, so I don't believe so. I mean, I think funding, I don't think we need to add another branch, because we got all kinds of things that we need. To send people up to space, I think people are laughing at us.
There are a multitude of problems in the United States that could be fixed with, at least fixed somewhat with some money, and obviously like spending it on some kind of ridiculous pipe dream nonsense that the president thought up after he watched Star Wars like one weekend is like not, it's not a good investment.
In order to get a better idea on the necessity of a Space Force, we sat down with Professor John Loxton of the Space Policy Institute at George Washington University.
Mr. Trump, in his rhetoric, tends to overstate things once in a while. So he talked about dominance in connection with the Space Force. I don't think this is a threat to other countries' space capabilities or other countries in general. This is really a debate that's gone on for several years, even before Mr. Trump was in the White House, about the best way to organize national security space in the United States.
Does this Space Force address a threat that might be coming from other countries, or?
Well, I think the Space Force addresses some external threats and some internal problems. The internal problems are the ones that are not very exciting. Are our space capabilities the right ones? Are they being properly procured and managed? Are they organized correctly? The external threats are we've become dependent for our success in fighting and winning wars on space capabilities, and a number of countries, China, Russia, and others, have developed anti-space capabilities, counter-space capabilities that we have to prepare to deal with. And having a dedicated organization preparing to do that, learning how to do that, being trained to do it, I think is important. Current government shutdown is hopefully a passing phenomenon that has nothing to do with the broader strategic planning for U.S. government functions.
Outer space is intriguing and exciting for many people, so when it shows up in the headlines, it's bound to get attention. Trump's call for a space force has attracted global interest. Some say it's a necessary step, but others are worried that it could set a dangerous precedent. Either way, Trump's call for a space force is sure to be a topic of interest that will extend light years beyond the Capitol. Well, that's all the time we have today in DC Direct, but please be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World, and reach out to us with the hashtag DC Direct and let us know what you think about Trump's proposed space force. Until next time, I'm Lionel Donovan.